In this episode, I share more about the work I do with Dreamtime Healing using holographic kinetics. I approach it as though you, the listener, have reached out to me interested in a session and you want to learn more. I break down the fundamentals of what holographic kinetics is, the kinds of issues you can bring to a session, what a session with me looks like, and the intention and vision I hold for all of my clients. Hi, and welcome to Heal into Balance with Jamie Cohen. My name is Jamie Cohen. I'm a holistic consultant based in Visalia, California, and I specialize in the Aboriginal Dreamtime Healing using holographic kinetics. It's a powerful healing modality, unlike anything else, that allows me to facilitate communication with the person's spirit so that the person can find the root cause of their issues, whether they were created in this life, past lives, or pass down the genetic lines so that they can make changes in order to make their lives better. I'm going to start this off by pointing out the obvious, and that is that Steve Richards, Aboriginal elder, founder and creator of Dreamtime Healing using holographic kinetics, is always going to be the best point of reference on this topic, hands down. Steve has literally devoted almost his entire life to researching what he calls the science behind Dreamtime Healing, which he terms holographic kinetics. And so if you want to learn more, if you really want to get down to the nuts and bolts of this topic, then I would point you to his website, which you can find at holographickinetics.com. I'll also say that he has 14 videos that he shared to YouTube. And if you go and search for Steve Richards Holographic Kinetics, you should be able to find his channel. And that'll give you an even more in-depth look at this powerful and unique healing modality. My intention behind this podcast episode is to share with people who have never heard of Dreamtime Healing using holographic kinetics before. So I'm going to break it down in a way that's hopefully easy to understand. Just know that there is so much more to this healing modality than what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So what is Dreamtime Healing using holographic kinetics? Well, it's the most advanced and unique healing modality in existence today, and it transcends all other therapies because it accounts for our multidimensionality and that of this universe that we live in. And it's also based on 60,000 plus years of ancient Aboriginal knowledge of the laws of lore, which is universal knowledge, and the understanding that the Aboriginal people have that everything in nature is alive with its own unique spirit that can be communicated with. And as Steve teaches us, the Indigenous people have long known that it is the spirit that we need to heal within us to really get us moving beyond our issues, beyond our patterns, and beyond our traumas. In very simplistic terms, holographic kinetics is a technique that Steve is teaching that allows us to access a person's spirit in order to clear its trauma. Because a spirit can be stuck in a cycle of trauma from its past. And your spirit, that eternal, all-knowing part of you, knows exactly where all of your issues were first created and why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. So by using this technique, you're actually able to tap into that knowledge. And the thing that happens during moments of trauma isn't so much about what happens, but it's about our perception of it and about what thoughts or beliefs or emotions or reactions we're locking in that moment in time at the spirit level, because those things then carry forward through time. So when we lock in a belief, as Steve teaches, beliefs override our own spirit. So then you're only going to be able to have experiences that conform to that belief. Have you ever heard the term, if you think you can, and if you think you can't, you can't? Like, you're right either way. That's where that comes from. If we have thoughts or beliefs locked in that we're carrying through time at the spirit level, even our own spirit isn't going to be able to give us different. No matter how many mantras you recite, no matter how many positive affirmations you say to yourself, you're not going to get through that belief unless you heal it at the spirit level. So if you lock in the belief, say that life is hard, how do you think your life is going to feel? What is your life going to be like moving forward through time? And I'm telling you, when you realize how far back some of your issues go, it makes sense as to why, talk therapy or throwing medications at these issues wasn't helping. Because when you're locking in things in past lives, say 20 past lifetimes ago, 100 past lifetimes ago, and you're carrying that, and then here you are setting up cycles of similarity. So you just keep repeating the same experiences, the same lessons over and over and over again in your reality. So holographic kinetics essentially lets us go back in time and change those moments in time so that whatever happened never happened. Therefore, you didn't lock in those thoughts or beliefs about yourself or about life. And that's why the shifts that you can have from one session can be so profound. You can significantly impact a single issue just in one session. Like if you come and you look at anxiety, for instance, you don't have to keep coming back to me week after week talking about your anxiety and how you want to look at that in a session again. Essentially, you look at things one time, and most of the time, not always, but most of the time, those things shift after that one session. Now, that being said, if you're someone who has had a lot of trauma in your life, you've been through a lot of things. Maybe you're experiencing a lot of mental health issues. You've dealt with addiction. You're dealing with, a lot of stressors and anxieties and maybe even some health problems. Just know that one session is not going to change your entire life or change every single thing in your life and make it better. So I usually like to see people come for 3 sessions because I've really watched clients who have done this shift their reality so much and get to a point of more freedom and more self-empowerment to where they're able to tap into that knowledge of their own spirit much more easily, and they're not needing my guidance. They're literally learning how to just follow their intuition and move forward in a way beyond their old limiting stories and beliefs and patterns, and how they had been settling for things that were less than what they actually wanted. And they're changing their life, and they're realizing their power as a creator. Now, to go a little bit more in depth, using Steve's words from a brochure that he himself wrote that you can find on my website under the menu heading of Holographic Kinetics, I'll just share with you what he says. Holographic Kinetics is not in any way likened to other therapies. It is not hypnosis. And I'll add that you are not in a trance state during your session. In fact, you're completely conscious and aware the entire time. It goes on to say, it looks at the body multidimensionally, accessing cellular memory passed down from generations, including trauma, and the cause and effect of events. Thoughts and emotions set up in the past and present affect the cycles of the future. These events, thoughts, and emotions are trapped in the body today, affecting our lives and causing us to continue repeating the cycles of life patterns within their own dimension of time, which we can become stuck in. He goes on to say, our success is achieved by clearing trauma locked in events, thoughts, and emotions. Until trauma is cleared from adverse events in our lives, we are continually affected today and in the future. As Steve teaches and posts on many of his videos and online content on his website, time is not linear. It is not what we think it is. Therefore, everything that's happened in the past is happening now and will happen again in the future, unless we go back and clear our trauma and limiting thoughts and beliefs at the spirit level to set up a new future for ourselves. At the core, that's what holographic kinetics ultimately enables you to do. You're going back, you're clearing your trauma, you're clearing out limiting beliefs and thoughts, and you're making changes so that you can have a new future. And I think our spirit wants to be free of these traumas that it's been carrying, of these repeating patterns and lessons that it just keeps seeing over and over, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And that's why we're being so pushed right now to see our stuff. So if you're being triggered right now extra, or you're noticing life getting a little bit more difficult, just start looking at it as your spirit's trying to show you what has been holding you back for potentially lifetimes. And, our spirit, being so powerful, a creator, came into this life wanting to create, wanting to try everything. Essentially, when we're stuck in time because of past traumas, we're not able to move forward that way. And I know for myself, there have been times where, I've been working on something and it was this inspired idea that I got. I feel like it was an intuitive nudge, which our spirit speaks to us through our intuition, through those little knowings, through those little nudges. And then something, it was just felt like things were getting blocked. And I'm like, what is going on? And in those times, I've actually then taken that to a session and found out that, there were limiting beliefs, or there were outside influences affecting me from being able to move forward and create was what I was wanting to create. So that is a very powerful thing, to be able to heal to the point that you're able to then manifest what you're passionate about manifesting. I mean, I'll say that, as with any kind of modality, no guarantees can be made for this, because essentially it's up to you and your own unique spirit to make the changes moving forward from your session. You make the changes with your spirit, and you have to then take action moving forward towards that different way of being or different way of life that you wanted for yourself. You can't just leave the session and go back to choosing the same things that you've always chosen. It won't really allow you to have different. You're going to then just see the same things get set up again, because we're that powerful creator. You can literally set up the same issue again if you go back and start mulling over your session, or you start making the same choices you were making. And I'll say, I can't claim that holographic kinetics cures or heals anything. It's not a replacement for medical treatment, but I'll go on right now to talk about some of the issues that you can look at during your session. And I'll just say, from my own experience, I've been healing things related to relationships with other people, related to things like anxiety, struggles with lack mentality, or having things in my life kind of stressful around money and things like that. I've looked at issues that have been physical, like my pericarditis I struggled with for many years, and things like motion sickness. I've looked at loads of different things. So essentially, my view is that any traumatic experience, anything that you are not enjoying or reacting to, like your triggers, your triggers are really like gold. They're like the things that are sort of yelling at you that, hey, you have something here to look at. You need to heal something here. You need to become aware of something. Or things that you're seeing repeat over and over in your reality. They're all issues that you can look at during a holographic kinetic session. And during a session, you can look up to 3 issues of your choice during one session. And I'll say, Steve has been recognized nationally for the work that he's done, the results that he's gotten in the fields of mental health and suicide prevention in Australia. He's also been asked to work in the court system, basically because they're seeing that holographic kinetics has been the only thing that has helped stop repeat offenders from offending over and over. And so he really loves to focus on mental health issues because he sees a big lack of treatments that are working for people. And I can speak to that too as a former registered nurse and someone who struggled with depression, for years, and even suicidal ideation. The way that we tend to treat these things is to send people into facilities and take away everything that they could use to harm themselves, we put them in talk therapy, and then we get out the prescription pad and give them medications. And if that doesn't work, where is a person left? For me, in my own journey, I had so many years of chronic health issues related to Lyme disease and other infections, which I actually didn't know that for many years. I just kept having recurrent bouts of pericarditis. But I hit a point, kind of a rock bottom point, that then really opened me up to trying just about anything, because, when you lose your health, or when you're struggling with mental health issues and you're just struggling with life, you start getting more willing to try new things, because what you've tried and all the answers that your doctor has been able to give you, your counselor has been able to give you, aren't really cutting it. And for me, my will to live and my will to thrive beyond everything that was trying to hold me down was so much stronger than, my thought processes in the programs that were telling me that, Western medicine or medications, or that my doctor had all of the answers. Steve, in this brochure, he's listed things that holographic kinetics can help clear. He's got attempted suicide or self-harm, emotional or compulsive disorders, anger, guilt, or violence issues, voices in the head, depression, fear, or shame, pain, anguish, or trauma, drug or alcohol dependency issues, and I'll add in cigarette smoking, gambling, anything like that, like that's an addiction, PTSD, physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, repeat offenders or stuck in time, Tourette syndrome, paranormal activity, and interdimensional interference. So essentially, he has seen people get results in these areas. And, during a session, I always have my clients beforehand write down their overall intention, because intention is very important, as the law of intent is the first law of lore. Your intention is felt by everyone and everything. Your intention is felt by the entire universe. By setting an intention for your session, I see it as it helps your spirit kind of know what you're seeking from the session. So I'll give an example. Sometimes my intention has been to improve my relationship with my son. Sometimes my intention has been to remove whatever blocks are holding me back in my business. Whatever your intention is, it can be as simple or as sort of specific as you feel it needs to be for that particular session. Your intention is going to change per session that you have. And then I also ask for the person to write down 3 issues that they want to look at during the session. And I will say, you write down the issue and how it's affecting you in a succinct way. So you only need to write down about 1 to 2 sentences about the issue. So if you're having anxiety, it might be something like anxiety, and it's causing me to really avoid social situations and being out in public places. That's an example of an issue that you could bring. And if you have more than 3, though, I always say it's important to just write down all of the issues that come to mind when you're thinking of coming for a session, because your spirit knows what your priority issue is that you really need to clear in order to move forward, and you can actually ask your spirit to clear the top 3 priority issues for you from your list. And what I find is that issues tend to all be related. And so even though you're only looking at 3 from your list, a lot of the times what I find is that there are themes that come up in your session. So I can even ask during the session if another issue was also cleared by you looking at the 3 that it chose for you, because sometimes we're locking in multiple thoughts or beliefs in a moment, or we're locking in a lot of different emotions and reactors, and there can be sort of similarities between the different issues that we write down and bring to a session. So always write them all down, and then If anything, you just have your spirit choose. When you look at an issue during a holographic kinetic session, we can never know what the outcome of doing that is going to be. It's really going to be dependent on you moving forward and also whether or not you were balancing out or experiencing something from your past creations. Sometimes there's big movement right away. Sometimes it takes a few weeks to a month or more for changes to integrate and start rippling out into your experience. The really important thing that I need to stress is that the healing doesn't stop when the session ends. You have to be willing and really serious about making changes to your life for this modality to help you in the most profound ways. So if you leave the session and you continue to make the same choices, you're going to get the same results that you've always got, because you can literally reset up these issues through your thoughts, words, actions, and deeds, which is what Steve teaches you have control of. You know, we are powerful creators in this reality, and we create with our thoughts, words, actions, and deeds. And so moving forward, you have to be committed to changing in the ways that you intended to with your session. When we leave a session and we put ourselves in the same situations and we set ourselves up basically for failure by making the same choices that we've always made, you can see very easily why it would be then that you're going to have the same experience. So it's really important to take full responsibility in your life for the state of things and realizing that you're a powerful creator and that everything you're experiencing is essentially trying to grow and expand you, because ultimately, even when we're facing triggers and we're facing a lot of difficult issues, if we can look at those things as little keys and signs to things that are holding us back in this life, and we realize that instead of looking at those things as detrimental, that we look at them instead as sort of enlightening, in that they're showing us things about ourselves that we probably have some kind of limiting beliefs, or maybe we have trauma around it that needs looked at and acknowledged and healed. So when you shift your way of thinking about things, everything in life becomes your teacher versus just something to suffer through. When you come to me for a session, we're going to start off by sitting down and going over the list that you brought with you. That includes your overall intention for the session, as well as up to 3 issues that you want to look at that day. And I'll go over some of the logistics of things that you can expect during your session. For instance, you're going to be lying face up on a massage table for the duration of your session. And once I get permission from you and your spirit to continue, everything is guided. So I literally will tell you what I need you to do at any given moment. All you need to do during a session is to relax and stay out of your mind so that your spirit can come through and guide the session as it needs to. Essentially, your spirit is going to be guiding the entire session by walking you back in time to the dimension where your issue was first created, so that you and your spirit can change that dimension of time, whether it was in this life, a past life, or pass down the genetic lines, and make changes that will then ripple out into your physical reality and into your future. It's really fascinating the way this happens, but it's important to know that this has nothing to do with your mind, your ego, or your subconscious mind. This is all carried with you through time with your spirit, your life force, and it holds the keys and answers to everything that you've been experiencing. As the session goes on, we'll look at each issue systematically in the same way so that you can make changes to each one. When the session's over, I'll have you come back to the present moment, and I'll make sure that you ground your energy and feel the weight of your body heavy on the table. Sometimes when you come out of a session, you can feel a little lightheaded at first, so it's important to take your time sitting up and standing up, and take your time kind of getting grounded in the present moment before you leave. It's important to not have other healing modalities at the same time that you're having holographic kinetics. So you definitely don't want to schedule anything during the week of your session, and you don't want to schedule any other healing modalities for at least 2 weeks following your session, so that that doesn't interfere with the changes that you and your spirit made during the holographic kinetic session. The only exceptions to that I would say that can be helpful are, say, a saltwater float, or maybe a dip in the ocean, or an Epsom salt bath, or a massage, because as that kinetic energy is getting released from your body, you can have what we call is defrag. I've had a lot of different physical symptoms following a session related to the defrag that typically lasts about 48 hours, but I've had it last up to a week at times, depending on how much energy was trapped in that moment in time and got locked into the cells of your body. So we can have things as simple as just being extra tired after a session. I would generally say that the day of your session, don't go planning anything else directly after your session where you have to be working or doing something very focused, because you may find that you just need to get into nature or relax or even take a nap. That being said, I've also had it where I've had loads of emotions come up to be released following a session where you just feel like maybe you just need to cry and cry and cry. That's good, because that's all releasing that old energy, that the changes that you and your spirit are allowing you to then release from your body, from your cells. So that's really a good thing. I've even had a sore throat, especially when I've cleared issues around not speaking up for myself. And I actually had it happen when I had a lot of anger going on. I actually defragged by having a really sore throat. I've had shaking before, like uncontrollable shaking when I went to bed at night, where you almost feel like you're coming down with a fever, and it wasn't. It was just defrag. So don't take any of this on to be the absolute truth, because like I said, you may just end up finding that you're really tired for that first 48 hours after a session. I just want to prepare my clients so that they know that more things can come up, and it's like, you're not sick, you're literally defragging. You're not going through an emotional breakdown, you're just releasing old energy. You're not depressed all of a sudden because of your session, you're just clearing away those old emotions, and all of those tears are going to help you move forward with the changes that you and your spirit made. I do sessions in person only in Visalia, California, but regardless of where you are in the world, if this information has been resonating with you today, don't just ignore that. I urge you to go and have a holographic kinetic session of your own so that you can see for yourself and understand more about why it is I'm so passionate about this modality. There are practitioners spread out all over the world. And if you reach out to Steve at holographickinetics.com, he can let you know if there's someone near you. And I'm telling you, my practitioner that I go to is about a 3.5-hour drive one way. And that has been worth every penny and every mile driven, because it has helped me so much. That being said, if you find out that you don't have anyone near you, he will direct you to his surrogate team who can do sessions from afar. They're in Australia and they're incredible. They've actually helped me with sessions when the practitioner near me was out of country. And so I really highly recommend them as well. They do incredible work. They're a great group of people that I actually was fortunate enough to meet in person this past September. And I can't recommend you having a session highly enough, because the only way you're really ever going to know what holographic kinetics is all about is if you experience it for yourself. Unless the session is for a child or an animal, it is always better to get to a session in person for yourself, because the nature of this modality is such that you're going to be able to connect a lot of dots and understand yourself so much better through your session. So if you're the one there on the table and you're hearing and witnessing everything that set you up to have the issues that you're having, you're going to walk away with a better understanding of yourself and of your life. So that is always recommended, even if you have to drive. I've had people drive to me from Vegas, which is like a 5-hour drive one way. I've had people come to me from Sacramento, which again, it's like a 3.5 maybe hour drive. It is worth it. I'm telling you, if you have the means to do it, whether you have to drive to a practitioner or you have to even fly to a practitioner, it's going to be way more beneficial for you than if you have the surrogate team do the session, because you're not going to be able to be present for that. And while they send you detailed notes of the session, you're not going to have the same aha moments that you would if you were the one on the table. There's a lot going on in this world in the year of 2023. And to say a lot, I know that that's probably the understatement of the year. But there's more to it than just what's going on in the outer physical reality. There's a lot going on metaphysically right now. And Steve talks about an end of cycle or conjunction happening later on this year. He says that that's why time as we know it has sped up so much. Maybe you've noticed that, but you haven't been sure if it's just in your head. Well, it's not. And many of us are starting to realize that it feels like minutes go by in what feels like seconds. Hours go by in what feels like minutes. And it's great for manifesting if you're living in the flow, because I've had things where I've thought of it and then instantly it shows up in my physical reality. But it's also really putting the squeeze on all of us right now. Our spirits know that this end of cycle is coming, and whatever that ultimately is going to end up meaning, our spirits want to heal. Our spirits want to move beyond its limitations that it's been carrying for sometimes generations, for lifetimes. And we're just so ready to move forward for the future cycles of time. So this can show up as it can be very painful a time right now. A lot of things can be shown to us. I know I've been having a lot of triggers and things come up. My spirit has been pretty forceful about peeling off layers and showing me things that I need to see that have been holding me back. And it's as if, it's like I clear one thing and then something else will show up. And it's really not about focusing so much on healing. It's about our spirit really wants to change. Our spirit wants to move forward in its full potential, in its full limitless nature. That is that life force energy that is us. So if you're feeling that way too, you're not alone. Keep going. Keep seeking the answers from within. Get into nature. Start listening to your intuition more, which is your spirit. That's the way your spirit communicates with you, is through those little nudges and knowings. So get into a quiet place in nature and just be with yourself. Don't seek so many answers from other people or the outside. Start really tuning in to your own spirit. Listen to the callings of your own heart and start doing things that light you up more. Because I find that for me, that helps me get into touch with my spirit more, is when I'm doing things that light me up. So I really want my clients to get to the point where they're freeing and healing themselves and they realize their own power to create and manifest anything they want in life. I love what Steve teaches, that nothing has to be the way it was, and that our own spirit can completely enfold time and space and change our reality in an instant, but we have to tell it what we want. I hope this episode has opened your mind to a quantum way of healing you may not have known existed. I'm telling you, if you're hitting walls and you don't even know what to do anymore because you keep having the same issues, nothing ventured, nothing gained, as Steve says, and it's worth a shot to give something new a try. What do you have to lose except your own limiting thoughts, beliefs, and your trauma? For the month of February of 2023 only, I'm holding a special introductory offer that will allow you to come and try Holographic Kinetics by looking at one issue for a special discounted rate. I'm only going to be holding these sessions during the last weekend of the month, which is February 25th and 26th. It's a Saturday and Sunday. So if you have interest in trying this and this offer sounds like something that's for you, I suggest that you reach out to me as soon as possible to schedule your free 15-minute phone or Zoom consultation with me. By doing this, you'll be able to ask questions prior to your session, and I'll be able to go over some of the logistics that I typically cover when you come to me. This way, I'm freeing up more time to allow this opportunity to reach as many people as possible. So you can go to my website and sign up for the free call, or you can email me at jamie@healingwithjamie.com. healintobalance.com. If you find yourself wanting to learn more about the work I do with Dreamtime Healing using holographic kinetics, or you want to book a session with me, head over to my website at healintobalance.com. Please stay tuned. Every Monday, I'll be uploading new episodes of this podcast, so subscribe and share it with anyone that you think would resonate with this message. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for listening.